One of my guilty pleasures in horror films is The First Urban Legend, a movie about a serial killer knocking off a bunch of college students by means of, you guessed it, urban legends. Since I've fallen down the rabbit hole of nostalgic tales, I've dedicated the second part of this series to the legends specifically depicted in the first urban legend movie. Maybe the movie or its sequels will get a proper review one day. The Killer in the Back Seat. A friend stopped at a pay-at-the-pump gas station to get gas. Once she filled her gas tank, and after paying for the pump, started to leave. The voice of the attendant inside came over the speaker. He told her that something had happened with her card and that she needed to come inside to pay. The lady was confused because the transaction showed complete and approved. She relayed that to him and was getting ready to leave, but the attendant once again urged her to come in and pay or there'd be trouble. She proceeded to go inside and started arguing with the attendant about his threat. He told her to calm down and listen carefully. He said that while she was pumping gas, a guy slipped into the back seat of her car on the other side, and the attendant had already called the police. She became frightened and looked out in time to see her car door open and the guy slip out. The report is that the new gang initiation thing is to bring back a woman and/or her car. One way they're doing this is crawling under the women's cars while they're pumping gas or at a grocery store in the nighttime. The other way is slipping in unattended cars and kidnapping the woman. Please pass this on to other women, young and old alike. Be extra careful going in and from your car at night. If at all possible, don't go alone. This is real.
Stop! Someone's in the back seat!
Microwaved pet. I once heard of an elderly woman who used to breed pedigree cats and exhibit them at shows. She specialized in Persian cats, and their long hair always made it a difficult task to clean and groom them for showing. In order to cut down the efforts involved, the old lady evolved a practice of first washing the cat, toweling it, and then, finally, giving it a very brief warming in her electric oven. One Christmas, her cooker developed a fault, and so her son, by way of Christmas present, bought her a brand new microwave oven. On the day of the next cat show, not understanding the basic difference in the technology between an ordinary cooker and a microwave oven, the old lady industriously washed her prize-winning Persian cat and popped it into the oven for a few seconds. There really was no meow, or any sound from the cat at all, for the poor creature exploded the instant the oven was switched on.
But Asswave, aren't you forgetting something? I'm not babysitting any kids.
Wrong legend. This is the one about the old lady who dries her wet dog in the microwave.
The Kidney Heist. Reason to not party anymore. A true story. This guy who lived next door to Amy, my girlfriend, went out last Saturday night to a party. He was having a good time, had a couple of beers, and some girl seemed to like him and invite him to go to another party. He quickly agreed and decided to go along with her. She took him into the party of some apartment and they continued to drink and even got involved in some other drugs unknown. The next thing he knew, he woke up completely naked in a bathtub filled with ice. He was still feeling the effects of the drugs, but looked around to see he was alone. He looked down at his chest, which had "Call 911 or you'll die" written on it in lipstick. He saw a phone was on a stand next to the tub, so he picked it up and dialed. He explained to the EMS operator what the situation was, and that he didn't know where he was, or what he took, or why he was really calling. She advised him to get out of the tub. He did, and she asked him to look at himself in the mirror. He did, and appeared normal, so she told him to check his back. He did, only to find 2 9-inch slits in his lower back. She told him to get back in the tub immediately and they'd send a rescue team over. Apparently, after being examined, he found out more of what had happened. His kidneys were stolen. They were worth $10,000 each on the black market. I was unaware this even existed. Several guesses are in order. The second party was a sham, the people involved had to be at least medical students, and it's not just recreational drugs he was given. Regardless, he's currently in the hospital on life support awaiting a spare kidney.
What are you gonna do?
Oh, just my favorite UL. The kidney heist. Guy gets picked up by a woman at a bar. She takes him back to her hotel room. She fixes him a drink. Boom! He's knocked out. When he wakes up, he's in a bathtub full of ice and he realizes that one of his kidneys has been removed.
Gang initiation. Gang initiation weekend. Please read very important. Police officers working with the DARE program have issued this warning. If you're driving after dark and see an oncoming car with no headlights on, do not flash your lights at them. This is a common Bloods gang member initiation game that goes like this. The new gang member under initiation drives around with no headlights, and the first car to flash their lights at him is now his target. He's now required to turn around and chase that car, then shoot and kill every individual in the car in order to complete his initiation requirements. Police departments across the nation are being warned that September 23rd and 24th is the Blood Initiation Weekend. Their intent is to have all new Bloods nationwide drive around on Friday and Saturday nights with their headlights off. In order to be accepted into the gang, they have to shoot and kill all individuals in the first auto that does a courtesy flash to warn them that their lights are off. Make sure you share this information with all your friends and family and drivers.
When someone finally did, she made a U-turn and started chasing him. Flashing her high beams, laughing.
The boyfriend's death. 2 students had gone out to neck in the car on an isolated country road. Afterwards, the car wouldn't start. The girlfriend got spooked, and the boyfriend said he would walk for help, but first suggested that she get down on the floor of the car in the back and pull a blanket over her so no one looking in would see her, and told her not to look out until he returned, and told her to, no matter what she heard, then walked off, leaving her hidden. When he didn't return, she started to hear strange tapping on the roof of the car. Tap, tap, tap. Despite her growing panic, she didn't get out and remained huddled there all night long, listening to the irregular tapping sounds. Finally, the daylight grew outside, and she heard someone walking up to the car. A man's voice called out, "Is anyone in there?" It was the local sheriff. She peeked out, and he told her to get out of the car and walk down the road to the waiting sheriff's car, and whatever she did, don't look back at the car. She walked down the road to the sheriff's car, but looked back at the last minute, and saw her boyfriend's head impaled on the CB antenna, dripping blood onto the car.
Stop the car.
Man under the car. I was told not to go shopping at the Tacoma Mall because women were being robbed there by men hiding under their cars. The woman would come back to her car all laden down with packages, and when she was standing there trying to open the door, a guy hiding underneath her car would slash her ankles with the razor so she couldn't get away, then take her purse and packages and drive off in her car. Oh my. Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light? 2 college roommates were complete opposites. One liked to study while the other liked to party. In preparation for their upcoming midterms, the studious roommate, Jane, planned a Friday night of studying while her partier, Mary, decided to go to a frat party. The 2 were friends, regardless of their differences, and while Mary got ready for the party, she tried to get Jane to go. Jane insisted on studying, and Mary set out for the party. Jane agreed to leave the door unlocked so that Mary wouldn't have to bring her keys. While Mary was at the party, she met up with another group of friends, and they convinced Mary to stay at their place for the night. Mary agreed, but had to stop back at her room to get her keys. It was about 2 a.m. when Mary got back. She snuck in and grabbed her keys, leaving the lights off, not wanting to wake her roommate. The next morning, Mary walked home, intent to ask Jane for some study help. When she reached her room and opened the door, she saw Jane murdered at her desk. Written on the wall in Jane's blood was, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the lights?"
Sorry. Not looking